It's having uniformity all the way through. They changed Last of Us to have uniformity. That was a good thing.
That was stupid, though. You
It's a
just
good
put a one.
thing.
We knew it was a part one. We knew it was fucking part one. Stop it. We knew it was part one.
Wait, what episode is this?
Don't worry. We just figured it out as we go.
This is episode something or another of the Unfiltered Gamers podcast. I'm here, Mad Curious.
I don't know. We got screwed up with the episodes. It's my fault because I started at 0.
Because he
and I'm
wanted to
like,
start
wait,
at 0, like the Europeans with the ground floor or whatever, like instead of it
What?
being level 1.
Well, this is another episode of Unfiltered Gamers. I'm your host, Delacroix, and with me, the fabulous Matt Curious.
Wait, is it Delacroix? Have I been saying it wrong this whole time? I've been saying Delacroix, like the waters.
Because you're saying it like the damn English people. Is Delacroix. Delacroix. Delacroix.
Delacroix.
That's how you say it.
Okay.
You say Delacroix.
Yeah, every
Because
time.
you drink that nasty ass
I don't
fucking
drink
water.
it, but I know it. I've heard of it.
Yeah. How you been? How you doing out there? Because I was like really worried for all my Floridian hood homies.
Oh, it's
You
fine
haven't
here.
hit anything.
Nah, the Carolinas got hit really hard, but we're fine. At least in my part of Florida, there was like light flooding in the edges, the coast. But yeah, no, here's been perfectly fine. The next morning, I woke up and went outside, and it was like nothing had really happened. There was a little like foliage on the street, but that's that.
Oh, so you're in the area that's a non-flood zone. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I'm in a pretty good
That's
area.
good. I know a lot of people like saying their whole house is like underwater and they got like alligators swimming on their front steps.
Oh no, and
Which
I'm
is
like
fucking
I'm up
crazy.
too. You can kind of tell I'm like up high, so I'm generally pretty protected, and my windows are like thick, like thick boys ready. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. I also saw, if you guys didn't know, Mad did a very weird stream on Friday. Was it Friday or Saturday that
Oh
I
yeah,
entered
Friday.
the stream?
Yeah, I did.
And I was just confused. It was like some fucking fan fiction with mermaids, and it was just weird. It was very weird.
We used to do a lot more of these like special event type streams, but I wanted to throw a couple in, and this one was like a special one for like my bestie / designer / friend who does a lot of stuff in the stream. Her birthday was in August, and I wasn't able to really celebrate it. I had like a speaking engagement in real life, and so I was really busy that week, so kind of decided to bring it in here now that we're done with Outlaws and had a little time to play with other games. So we did a Titanic day, and it ended up being this mermaid game that told the true story of the Titanic.
But when she told, I was like, the true story of the Titanic, I was like, okay, let me hear this. And it just went on about some mermaid and like how I don't even know. It was just very weird. It was like if somebody took the Titanic and then made it a Twilight type thing, mixed with 50 Shades of Grey. And I was just like, what the hell am I listening to right now?
Yep.
I can't explain it. I'm not judging. I'm just saying,
it
I was
wasn't
just like, what the fuck is
erotic.
happening
It wasn't
right now?
erotic like 50 Shades, to be fair.
It
but
was erotic.
It was no. It was weird. It was weird. I wouldn't call it erotic.
But was it erotic?
It was just
Yes
a
or
weird
no?
time. No, you could read it that way if you wanted to. Like, it definitely had some suggestive elements, but it wasn't outright. So no, it was an odd game.
It was a user imagination erotic.
I mean, there were definitely times where they were putting starfish in holes or something. There was
That's erotic. She's like, yeah. I mean, it's not erotic. You could take it that way.
suggestive. It wasn't like
Suggestive-
actually 50 Shades. Like 50 Shades is like legitimately, it like tells you, it like describes
Okay,
eroticism.
you just sat here and said they stuck starfishes.
Yeah,
in
it's
holes.
suggestive, not like outright erotic. There's a difference.
It's still erotica.
It's not. It's not. That's not. There's a huge difference between suggestive and outright describing erotics.
Okay, so wait. All right, we're moving on because we're gonna get into the whole thing.
It's like, this is not even the topic of the day. Oh my
Stay on
goodness.
topics. Stay on topics. Okay, so this episode is gonna be asking the question: are gamers okay? Are we okay as gamers?
Clearly not.
Because I just want to say one thing. Me, as somebody who is a person who has adult money and buys stupid shit, the PlayStation 5 Pro 30th Anniversary Edition, for its price point, wasn't bad. Did I buy it? No. I did not pay $1,000 for a PlayStation Pro with all the fixings and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Again, the price point wasn't bad. You got the PlayStation Pro, you got that controller, the Edge controller, you got the charging station, and I think you got an extra controller, if I'm not mistaken. $1,000.
And I feel
That's
like with
fucking reasonably
collectibles,
priced.
like it's a reasonable price for like people who like collecting stuff, you know?
Yeah.
They spend a lot of money on
But
that.
if you remember, just 2 weeks ago, everybody was they had their panties in a bunch about saying it's too expensive, $700 is the price point. Oh, you also got the fucking
But as soon as
TV.
they just like make it look like an old model, people are all over it. People are
Exactly.
ridiculous. They can't make up their minds. It's like, I don't know what to call it because I think grifting is the wrong word. I keep calling it grifting, and that is stolen from like the real definition of it. It's because they're not scamming people necessarily, but it's these people that jump from like one gaming concept to another, and they might be in conflict with each other, but they'll agree with both just because they're popular, you know? So they'll say, oh, PS5 Pro bad because everybody says it's bad, and then they'll be PS5 Pro good because now they have a PS1 version, and it's like doesn't make any sense, and they're just saying whatever's like the popular thing to say. I don't know what we call those people. I've been calling them grifters. I think that's what most people do, but
You know what I call them?
yeah.
Fucking idiots. You're idiots. That's all it is. You're a fucking idiot. Because you're going to sit there and complain about it, but at the minute it became gray and looked like a PlayStation 1, you fucking dropped all of your fucking hate for it and was like, I'm going to buy this shit right now. Motherfuckers who aren't even PlayStation fanboys were buying this shit. Because I'm going to tell you what, I spent an hour and a half in that queue. Why? Because I wanted that 30th anniversary DualSense controller. And did I get that fucking 30th anniversary DualSense controller? You bet your sweet ass I fucking did. Did I pay too much money for it? Who knows? But I got it. It was just fucking, it was just funny that like, it's like you guys was just a week ago complaining about it.
They have
Complaining
no
about the price point of it.
consistency. None whatsoever. They're like, oh, you're
But-
not allowed to like it because it's too much money. And then it's like, oh, well, now that it looks like the thing that you like, it's not too much money anymore. So now you can actually see that there is value for money outside of like just the inner workings of the system for like the base level hardware. Like you can actually see value outside of that now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it sold out fucking fast. That $1,000 for like 5 pieces of what is it? The system plus accessories, $1,000. That was a great price point. I gotta say, Sony, hats off to you, because if you do the math, I'm not sitting here to do the math. If you do the math with the PlayStation Pro, with that CD case, with an extra controller, with the charging station, with the fucking DualSense Edge, it's more. I think it's more than $1,000 if you're doing the taxes. It's probably like maybe like $1,200. I don't know. Somebody could sit there and chat. I mean, not chat. The comments and do it. But I gotta say that was a pretty decent price point. And on top of that, it fucking pisses me off because they released a special type of charger, like a charging cord, that the top of it resembled the PlayStation, the old PlayStation memory card.
Oh, that's super cool.
And you got that with that bundle.
That's so cool.
That's the only way you could get that. That's the only way you could get that. I thought I got it with the DualSense Edge controller.
Yeah.
But I don't. So it's not fair. Life isn't fair. And I hate it. I hate everything. So I'm going to be angry this fucking...
Nostalgia is they need to keep playing on the nostalgia if they want to make up for Concord, to be honest. Like, if they want to make up that 400 million, which I still don't know how they even spent that, but if they want to make that up, just nostalgia bait forever. All they have to do is release Bloodborne. What are they doing? Like, what
Okay.
is this?
That gets into our first fucking topic of the day with the PlayStation state of play. No, do not play in the fucking nostalgia because I'm sick and tired of fucking remakes and remasters. I am done with it. This fucking PlayStation state of play, I'm tired of seeing the same fucking games remade, remastered, and enhanced. These motherfuckers are putting out, what is it Horizon and enhanced
Horizon
now?
just came out. It what was it, like 2018?
I don't know.
It
I don't
just
fucking,
came out.
It
It doesn't need a remaster. It's
And
like it's
now-
one thing when we were remastering games from like PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4 because there was such a giant difference between the two
Yeah.
and the capabilities. Now it's like diminishing returns. Like, yes, there is obviously a difference. I mean, well, I wouldn't even say obviously. Some people don't notice a difference. It's a little bit harder to tell. And so, like, why would they bother remastering when they could just create a new game? I mean, I know it's less
Because
effort, but
money.
like, good
'Cause
God.
money.
But they're only charging
And then-
$10 for it. Like, why even put in the? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just
if you already have it and you want the updated, enhanced version,
Yeah.
you got to pay $10.
which isn't
they're
bad.
doing it
I'd
for
say it's
Last of Us
value for
1.
money. Yeah, but.
Last of Us 1, 2, Horizon Zero Dawn for both of the games, I believe.
Now, 1 and 2
And-
had a little bit of a different reasoning, though. There was a little bit more to it. So, like with part 2, when they, with part 1, when they remade it to be part 1 instead of just The Last of Us, they were also releasing it for PC. So they were already going to come up with a PC version. They might as well come up with a whole new version for everyone. And so 1 had the elements more in line with 2, like the menu and stuff was all kind of more aligned with 2. So it actually fit, like when you play them together now, it's a lot more in sync. And they also redesigned the AI a little bit and the way that they interact. So they did make some like real updates.
But did you
It wasn't
really
just like a
need
graphical
to fucking
update.
re-release that?
Yeah,
Did
I
you-
mean,
did
I
you
think
really-
it made sense because they were
No.
releasing it for PC anyway. So with that, they went ahead and like did. Yeah, I mean the truly the AI like functions differently. So those who are doing challenge runs, which are like the people who are keeping Last of Us alive, those people have a whole brand new set of things to do now because the AI is completely different and the way that they interact with the game is now completely different for those who are like spending hours and hours and hours in each like what's it called, like scene.
But that could have been done with a simple update, in my opinion. You could have sent out a big update and fixed all that instead of re-releasing the game and having people pay money again for it or paying additional money for the update.
I would normally agree, but the reason that it works is because they made it uniform now. It's like their whole vision is complete because they have part 1 and part 2 rather than The Last of Us and part 2. I think that they made it very uniform. Like I support it. I will say when they remastered 2, they added a whole new section of the game that's like a little almost mini game that could have been multiplayer, but they didn't make it multiplayer, called No Return, where it's like 6 rounds where you try to defeat like different types of bosses and stuff. They throw
It's
you.
like a horde mode or some
Yeah,
crap.
there's like all sorts of game modes. So they had a whole new game mode, plus they had some like extra interactive elements that, yeah, sure, they could have put in an update, but I think for these two it made sense. Now, where I agree with you, because it's not just me Last of Us fangirling, I'm not planning to get
It
the
sounds like
enhanced.
it.
No, I'm not planning to get the enhanced version. I don't think that they're adding anything to it. I don't think that it's unique enough. Do I think it makes sense for the people getting a pro to have enhanced versions of some of the biggest games? Sure. Do I think it's as necessary when we're actually looking at like remasters and remakes and when they have value? I think that The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2 did remasters right and had reasons for it. I think a lot of series don't, but I think that's like where I sit with it, is like if it has enough value. I would call it out if it didn't.
Yeah, but put it like this. Slapping part 1 on The Last of Us doesn't mean that we didn't fucking know it was part 1. We knew it was part 1. Just because you go,
Well,
The
they were
Last of Us
doing it
part
for
1,
PC
Last of
though.
Us
If they
part 2.
hadn't been releasing it for PC, I would maybe agree. But then they would have completely different game names. You know, like they wanted to
The Last
align
of Us
it.
and The Last of Us Part 2. We know it's a Part 2. It doesn't go Metal Gear Part 1, Metal Gear Part 2.
They wanted it.
Wait, it
I
did.
think it makes
Wait,
sense.
did it? Wait, I think it did. Wait,
Helps
hold
my
on.
brain. Yeah.
No, wait, it helps your brain.
It
You
helps
know-
my brain. No, I like the uniform. Okay, so like for instance, Final Fantasy, right? You love the Final Fantasy series, yeah?
Yes.
I have never played it, and part of the reason is because I got upset because I was like, there's so many damn games. How would I even like?
But
I'm
there's
never gonna be
different
able to finish it.
stories.
And that's what people said, and I was like, then why would you fucking number them? Don't
Because
number
it's
them if they're not a
continuing-
series.
Wait, it's just a new game. Final Fantasy 1,
It
Final
made me.
Fantasy 2,
It made me like
3,
weirdly
4,
mad, and I
5.
just didn't even want to play it. I was like, what the fuck is?
Because you
like,
thought
it's
you had to
the-
play all those games.
Yeah, and now I don't. But like
you
now I'm
don't.
confused because people will be like, "Oh, Final Fantasy 7," so my brain goes, "Oh, I need to play the 6 before that." But no, it's actually its own game. And
Yeah,
it's like,
it's its
why
own
would you not
stories.
name it something separate,
Like what?
like Final Fantasy, and have a specific story, like story name?
They
Because
kind
it's
of
not
did.
because it's not a series. Why would you number it?
Final Fantasy 13, Lightning's Revenge.
It's crazy that it's numbered and it's not a series.
It is a series. It's the Final Fantasy
But
series.
it's not a
different
series
story.
because they're different stories. There's no
Yeah,
series implies sequential.
not always.
The numbers definitely imply sequential. Like, I'm sorry. It's like made me just ridiculously upset. I know it's not logical, but my brain likes
I think
uniformity.
your big brain, you need logic behind everything. So you're like, it has to say part one, because if it doesn't say part one, I'm confused.
Yeah, because and here's the thing. You know how fangirl I am about Assassin's Creed, which we're going to get into soon. I don't love that they switched from numbers to names. I think that they should have made it uniform. If they remaster them all, make them uniform, I won't be able to complain.
You don't like change. You don't like that's very
No, I want
conservative of you.
uniformity. It's not change. It's not change that's the problem. It's having uniformity all the way through. They changed Last of Us to have uniformity. That was a good thing.
That was stupid though. You
It's a
just
good
put a one.
thing.
We knew it was a part one. We knew it was fucking part one. Stop it. We knew it was part one.
But they
Look
really
at
did
Metal Gear
update stuff.
Solid.
They updated the AI. It wasn't just a graphical update. They're not doing that to Horizon, as far as I know. Like the AI differences are actually like distinct. For those who have played those scenes over and over and over again, those encounters, you're going to be going to like you're gonna do different strats. Like the people who do speedrun strats, for instance, and there's a huge speedrunning community in Last of Us. They now redid everything for part one specifically. So the remaster and part one are completely different, like functioning throughout many of the encounters.
But it's the AI. That's it, right? AI.
Yeah.
Just the AI, right?
Well, and menus.
The story doesn't change. The story doesn't change.
No, the story did not change.
But the AI just changes.
AI behavior changed. So the gameplay feels a little different throughout some of the
We just needed an
encounters.
update though, Mad. We just need an update. You're not gonna sell me on this. You just need an update.
That's more than an update. To have complete shifts in the like UI, basically, to have AI completely behave differently throughout encounters. Because if they had pushed an update, you know what would have happened? People would have been upset because then their remaster would be different. And this is so many years later. I think if it's that many years later, it does need to be like a remaster or remake, because if you're pushing out an update, you ruin the old.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, here's the thing. At the end of the day, you could have opted for that, whereas the update, and it just says you pick with the updated AI or not. Look at here's a perfect example. I'm gonna use League of Legends.
Not a bad idea.
League of Legends have been around since like 2000 something. I don't know when, but League of Legends has been around for so long. And you know what they do when they change a character or add new characters or completely rework a character? They don't release League of Legends Part 2. They just fucking put out a huge update and change everything. Smite did this nonsense.
But are they
made
kind of
Smite
live
Smite Part
servicey?
2.
Like it's a multiplayer game, that's a little different. To have
Yeah,
like
but
an
the thing is-
online live service game is different than to have updates on a solo game that's been out for a million years.
Okay, but so there's a Smite and there's a Smite Part 2. Smite didn't need a Part 2. You just fucking put out one big update like League of Legends did. You just changed the update. That's what I feel like.
But League of Legends is a completely different genre, is what I'm saying. Like with solo, I think it makes sense at some point to make it a remaster or remake. And so where that value for me comes in is if there's enough that has changed. If it's just a graphical update, I think it should be an update push. If there's more to it than a graphical update, I think go ahead and make the remaster remake. That's like where I kind of draw my line.
Well, I see we're not gonna ever agree and disagree in this.
What do you think is worth it for a remaster remake then?
Completely ground up Resident Evil 1. Look at Resident Evil 1 for the PlayStation 1. Now look at Resident Evil 1, the remake for GameCube.
Is it mostly
and
graphical updates, or what did they change exactly?
It's a graphical update, it's a story update, and it's a gameplay mechanics update.
So you think there should be Last of Us Part 1 had like 2 out of 3 of those. You think it should have to have story updates. That's where you draw your line.
If you're gonna call something a remaster, it has to be it should be remaster change. Another example, look at my brain just went crazy. What was another game that was recently remastered or the Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2 and 3. That was they remastered that game, right? It was a remake.
Okay.
Resident Evil 2 and 3 was a remake. Graphical update, gameplay mechanic update, story update, and like you said, UI. So it completely changed. Last of Us, all they did was say the UI,
No. Last of Us was UI, graphics, and gameplay.
But what was the graphics treated? It got brighter.
The graphics is now aligned with 2. It's a different, like if you actually look at it, it's quite different. It's not as different as from like 3 to 4, but it's definitely different from 4 to
So
5.
Last of Us 1, was it what? The Last of Us Part one. We're gonna use part one because
Yeah.
we gotta separate
Well, and that's the
Last
thing
of
too,
Us
is
and Last of
it's
Us
the
Part
next
One.
gen. Because like all of these, like when you have next gen updates, sometimes it makes sense, but there's definitely graphical updates there from 4 to 5.
Okay.
I don't think that should be the only reason that you do it, but they had graphical updates to next gen, they had UI changes, and they had gameplay changes. That's enough for me to say remaster remake is appropriate.
Okay, so The Last of Us Part One, was it considered a remake or remastered? Were they classified
Actually, I'm
as?
trying to remember, to be honest. Let me see.
I think they
I think it
classified
was
it
a remake.
as a remake, but
And
it
I think
wasn't
I
a
would
fucking
agree
remake.
with you that it's a remaster, not a remake. I would agree with you. Remake
Exactly.
to me implies story. I agree with you on that.
Okay, because if we want to call it a remastered, it should fall in the same category of they're just doing a Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
a
a
remake.
remaster.
It's a remake, and I
It's a
agree with
remake.
you. It should be a remaster. Yep.
It should be a remastered. So
I think the reason they probably didn't is because they already have a remaster, so they would have had to call it like the remastered remaster.
they should have done it. Okay, so the debate is over. They should have fucking done it in the first place. It was stupid. Next. Round one goes to me. Put a ding on
No.
me.
It still should have been remastered. It just maybe the name remake is a little bit silly. It's like it's basically means remaster versus having the story changed. But I agree that I think that it was a worthwhile remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it. I think it was because 3 out of the 4 things you're naming, that's pretty fucking good.
It got brighter and they changed the UI.
It didn't get brighter. They changed their the facial structures of some of the characters.
Dude,
all of the characters actually.
Wait, The Last of Us came out what system? PlayStation 3?
It was so the remaster was 3 to 4, which was only like a year later, but it was such a giant graphical difference. And the controls, you remember how PS3 had controls designed differently?
Yeah, but you look at the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 graphics, they're still pretty comparable. It's just you saw changes with the ray tracer and everything and all that stuff and the brightness and all that stuff. But they wasn't really that much needed. I don't think they needed to do that. We're gonna stuck in The Last of Us, and I feel like we have a whole episode.
We do, but I mean, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying it doesn't go to you because I still disagree with you. I only agreed with you that the name remake might not apply because I do think remake implies the story change. But what were they gonna do when they already have a remaster? They have to name it something. They can't call it the remaster. So I think that's where they went with remake. So I guess remake can mean either the story changed or we already had a remaster. Here's another, and I think it was appropriate. I think it was. I just think that the name remake implies something else, but that otherwise it is very much
it's a remaster. Last of Us 1. Last of Us was the remastered of the damn game. Like, and we're doing it again with Horizon. We're doing it again with Horizon Zero Dawn remastered. I feel like Sony literally came in with this and was like, remember these games? We're remastering them because you know why? We got the PlayStation 5 coming out, and I think they have this thing called PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced versions of the games.
They do.
Which, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. You're going to buy your PlayStation Pro, right? You're going to get it, you're going to hook it up, and you're going to put it on your non-4K fucking screens, and you're not going to see the fucking difference. Understand something. You need to have certain screens or monitors or whatever to match with what is being put out. Because you're going to be sitting there like me going, I don't see the difference. So spend your money on the system. Go ahead. But please make sure you have the right TV or monitor screen. Because you ain't going to see shit difference. And you got to make sure you have the right cord.
I would hope that the people that are buying it would, right?
You think they fucking do? Just be honest. Matt, do you think people...
I mean, I think that a lot of gamers who take their shit seriously and care about fidelity that much might have it. I don't. I'm not a graphical... Like, I like good graphics, but I don't need graphics that big. I'm good.
What, do you have a... Your screens are connected with what kind of cable? HDMI or the data cable?
The data.
Okay, so you know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
Most people are still using fucking HDMIs.
Yeah.
So... These motherfuckers don't know what they're doing.
Some of it, hold up. Some of it is... No, wait. I'd have to look. Yeah, no, I think that is DP over here. Yeah.
Some people don't even know that. Some people is like, oh, HDMI. Why do you think now when you buy the
No,
new
that was my first
fucking
question to tech people when I was like setting everything up. I was like, which one of these fuckers do I need?
that's why when you look at the back of your graphics cards,
Yeah.
they're giving you more slots for data cables.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna get the full experience of the data cable. I have fucking bullshit 1 millisecond 1080p monitors. I don't have 4K monitors. Do I want one? Yeah, but right now, I think 4K is gonna be obsolete very soon. Next
Well,
thing is
and
8K.
here's the thing: I do an internal capture card where it's like it's internal, so it's not HDMI connected. It's like connected through the capture card.
Oh, I do mine's external because I don't feel like sticking most. I mean, I can. I'm just lazy. I just like the simplicity.
And so it's
What else did we
connected.
get?
It's connected to a stream it's connected to stream and mine. I mean, that's everybody's, but yeah, it's tech stuff is confusing. I'm just trying to think about it. But yeah, I mean, that's why I'm not going to be like the biggest graphics nerd. I don't particularly want to think about all of the different cables and all of the different stuff and all of the, I mean, I just want to buy the system, plug it in and call it a day. And if it works, great. And with my monitor, I wanted a curved 1440. I used to play on my TV, which was like 4K. And like the thing about having a big like screen that you're playing a game on is you're not going to get good as easily because you're having to track such a very like large amount of space with your eyes. And so I think 1440 is a great size in order to be able to like track everything well. And so I've started to really like gaming here. Now if I was doing something casual, hook it up to the TV, sure, but as for like any sort of gaming that requires any level of skill, I want it small like this, you know.
Yeah, we also got we're getting the Soul Reaver remastered, which I'm excited for because I love playing that game as a kid. I had to stop because as a young teenager, you don't understand how to do puzzles in games and you get very frustrated. So you're like, I can't do this. It was hard. So I'm excited to go back and play that game because the story in Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 is fucking phenomenal. A great story, great actors in that.
So do you want them to change the story since you like the story?
Huh?
So do you want them to change the story?
No. It's just a remastered. Not a remake. It's a remastered.
Oh, so
that
you
means,
think that only remakes need a new story?
Yes.
That's not what you said earlier. That's not what you said earlier.
Yes, I did.
You said you wanted remasters to have a different story.
No, I said remakes. Remakes.
That's not what you said.
I could have. We're not going back to the VOD.
I'm just saying.
You're not gonna do this again to me.
I'm just saying.
Doing this again to me with the boob stuff. If you're gonna have a remake,
yeah.
Okay. If you're gonna do a remake, it should have an updated story. If you remake it, you're flipping it. All right. Remasters, just update the graphics and whatever you gotta update. So this game is a remastered, so it's remastering things.
Okay.
Okay, so the graphics gonna look a little more cleaner and crisper, like the Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. You see that? It had a 3. It had a extra name in there, like you like, because you said, like things have different numbers.
I do like appropriate uniform numbering. Assassin's Creed, as much as I love it, drives me fucking nuts, dude.
So Snake Eater is getting a remastered, and the graphics look crazy. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for that. I'm a little upset because Hideo Kojima's not behind it, and that's Konami's way of saying we need fucking money, so we're just gonna remake something that's fucking people really love. Mm-hmm. We also got they're doing a lot of VR stuff now. So we're getting a Hitman VR.
A lot of people have been complaining about that. How do you feel?
The VR stuff?
Yeah.
On PlayStation?
Yeah, because a lot of people are saying like, oh, waste of resources. No one can afford VR. I don't want VR, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people get upset about it. I think it's cool to have options. So
I'm going to say the same thing I said earlier. The idiots. The same motherfuckers who complain about PlayStation 5 Pro being fucking $700 are the same motherfuckers who bought the fucking $1,000 bundle.
You were
Shut up.
Right. Yeah. I know,
you can't afford it. You can't afford it.
Yeah, if you can't, then don't buy it. And I think that just because it's not mainstream affordable for everyone yet, doesn't mean that they shouldn't be making it. Like, I think the more that they make it, the more people buy into it, the cheaper they can make it. That's how it works.
How much
it
is
takes
the
a while,
PlayStation VR? Let's look that up.
I think I have the original, and I think it was like $200 when I got it ages ago.
What is it? VR2? PlayStation VR2?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. And then
Let's
I'm
see.
borrowing a MetaQuest. Those are all around like a few hundred, I think. I think it's like two
I
to
think
four.
didn't they just came out with a 3? This came out with a 3 now.
Yeah. The MetaQuests are all 2 to 4-ish, I believe.
But okay, buy now. I'm gonna PlayStation website because I need to use it. Play. God damn, this shit is expensive. Holy fuck!
Some of them are,
It's
yeah.
fucking $550.
That doesn't surprise me.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my thing with VR. If you're gonna make VR, you gotta make sure you have an adequate amount of games for VR, especially when you're looking at a system VR. So I don't know how many games are out for VR right now for when it comes to the system. I know there's like a Batman
Well, a
one.
lot of them come with like
doing a
default
Hitman.
games too that are pretty decent.
Yeah,
Or,
but when
like-
it comes to like this PlayStation, like I don't know how many VR games there are.
And there's like sale stuff. So like if you're getting PlayStation and you're already bought into like their PlayStation membership, you can get some games from there, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, they weren't, or you can get games on sale through them. Like I got a bunch that weren't super expensive. Like I want to say Batman, the Job Simulator, the Worlds. There's like bundles where you can get pretty good ones. And there's actually some really decent like games that are taking advantage of the way that VR works in a really good way. I've been impressed when I've looked at stuff.
Looking at the PlayStation PlayStation VR 2 games, there's 71 items. Horizon, Call of the Mountains, Gran Turismo, Resident Evil Village, some Star Wars game.
Yeah, it's weird when people say there's no games. Like they're making it up. That you know who's saying there's no games for VR? People who don't have a fucking VR.
Ooh. Hello Neighbor. There's a lot of fucking games. There's 71 items. Listen, I'm not a VR person. I'm not, because you know what? I have the space to do it, but I just don't. I don't know. VR is just, maybe I'm not ready for it yet. I don't feel like I'm ready for it. I don't. I'm too poor to buy it. So we also got they're also doing a Horizon Lego version of games. I feel like Lego just. I feel like when you make a game, a Lego game is just lazy.
I
don't
haven't
know.
really understood it, and I kind of had that mentality as well. But then they're also very beloved because I kind of think of it as like, why are you making a game that already exists but making it in like cartoon form? And my brain's like, that's silly. Now you've just made this game for kids. But like, maybe that's not a bad thing. I don't know. People seem to really like them. I don't know.
I guess I Legos is a cute kind of game. Yeah, like you said, it's for kids. It's cute. It's whimsical. It's funny hearing the blocks fall apart and stuff.
Yeah,
the Lego Star Wars did really well. Lego Star Wars games did amazing. So did like the Lego Harry Potter games also. I think the game everybody's hyped for from the PlayStation State of Play is Monster Hunter Wilds. I don't know if you played Monster Hunter.
No, so I'm.
You never played?
No.
What?
No. I don't think it's my type of game. Isn't
Why?
it? What is it?
Monster Hunter.
What's the genre? Is it
Action
looter shooter?
Action RPG. No, it's not a looter shooter because I mean, can you shoot? Yes, but you have to make that weapon to shoot. But think of
Fantasy themed action role playing video games. Yeah, no, that's not for me, man.
What, dude? It's such a good game. It's such a good game.
I'm not saying that I wouldn't ever play it. It's just not the first thing on my radar. There's like a million other things I'd rather play first.
Yeah,
because I'm not really into like Japanese media franchise fantasy themed role playing. Like that's just not me. I like action adventure with like in-depth stories or really cool gameplay, and both would be optimal. And then the occasional cozy. I'm not really into, or like the occasional weird shit like I did the other day. Like I'm not really trying to do giant fantasy stuff.
I think Monster Hunter is pretty much all of that, but it has a really good story.
But I don't want giant fantasy stuff for the most part. I like my games a little more focused most of the time. I'm not as into open world. Like the open worlds I've liked have been like just an exception to the rule.
You worry me at times.
I like a focused game. I really do. I like where they have planned it out and they have shaved off all the nonsense that isn't needed. And they make a really good focused game. That's why I like, Last of Us 2 so much. It's focused.
Agree to disagree with that one.
I mean, it is focused, even if you don't like it. I don't know how you can't agree with that.
Listen, I like The Last of Us 2 until the end. That's the only thing I have to say about that.
Oh, you're
We're
one
also
of
getting an
those.
Alan Wake 2 expansion, which surprises me because I thought Alan Wake wasn't making money. I'm surprised he got an expansion.
That is weird because
So
didn't we just hear it was like quote unquote woke and that people hated it and that it was a failure? What is this?
it was not making money.
Yeah.
Supposedly it didn't make its money back or something. So I have no fucking clue. Then we got things like Dynasty Warriors, Dragon Age. Uh, I'm getting tired of the Dynasty Warrior games. It's everywhere. They also gave us a new Fortnite controller. Uh, Lunar Remastered Collection. I don't know what the hell Lunar is. I guess it's like a JRPG, but it's remastered. We also get a Metro Awakening. That's a VR game. Power World. We get Power World coming to the fucking PlayStation 5.
Interesting timing.
We all hyped for that. And this is for all the horny weebs that may watch. You're getting the Stellar Blade and Near Automata
Oh yeah, yeah.
collaboration now. So you get to see upskirt a lot now. Because we know why you guys bought Stellar Blade. I'm not gonna say it, but
It's not.
you know why people bought.
It's not because they're gamers. It's because they're horny. So I said what I said.
Did you see the update they just released for that?
I did not. I did not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they released the update, and I'm like, what is this update? And then I'm looking, and it's the same as like the video is of the main character, and she's like leaning forward, and of course there's like a cleavage shot. You can see the cleavage. So I'm looking at the original and then the update, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm just a creep because I noticed it so fast. But the mechanic upgrade was that when she leans forward now, they updated with this new technology that when she leans forward, the boob mechanics are more realistic than before. So before, when she leaned forward, her chest wasn't, it
So
didn't
you
look
know
real
what I'm
enough.
hearing
Like,
from this, right? What I am hearing is if PlayStation wants to make up the Concord money, they just need to throw out like a handful of really fucking horny games. They just need to go full send into and you know what people are going to do? They're going to be so excited, but then what's going to be funny is they're going to be the same people that hate on the, like quote unquote porn streamers and like the OnlyFans girls. They're going to be those same guys that hate on them, but then they're going to love it in the video games because it's that double standard. They don't want to like, I don't know what it is. I don't know how you can hate OnlyFans but love horny games, but it's it's the same people. Am I wrong?
I know, but it was just so funny because I instantly saw that the boob mechanics was different because I was like, oh, in the original, when she leaned forward, it didn't look realistic because her arms are a little bit together and the boobs are moving. Like her boobs aren't moving. Now with the update, arms forward, boobs are much more together. So I was like, oh, okay. Somebody sat there and was like, this is not realistic enough.
Somebody had
her
fun.
Boobs. Somebody did have fun.
They were like, hey, wife, come here. I need your help with something. Can you just lean forward like at least 20 times in a row and let me just look?
So that's the big update to it. So it was like, everybody's like, oh, phenomenal. So they have the girl from, I don't know what the hell her name is, B12, B2.
Yeah, I played that game, or at least the first playthrough. You're supposed to play a bunch more, and so there's going to be people who are very offended by me saying that. I'm so sorry. I planned one stream for it, and I was doing it nonstop. I did it in like 30 some hours, and I didn't realize you had to play it a million times, and I just didn't have time.
Did you cosplay as her?
I did. Matt? Absolutely, I did.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like I'm not e-girly, so
did you have the whole outfit? Did you have the whole outfit?
But it wasn't like bad on. I wasn't like wearing it like skimpy, I guess is the word.
You sure?
Yeah.
I
wasn't. Just pictures. The only kind of like skimpy-ish cosplay was my first one. And that was like Lara Croft. I went pretty skimpy on that, but
no, I don't. Yeah,
it still wasn't
really call that skimpy. I don't call that skimpy. Lara Croft, modern Lara Croft is not skimpy.
No, but mine was like a little bit. But that's the only one. Because then I was like, I don't really want to do horny content, and then I stopped very quickly.
So, from all this, from the state of play, I just really feel like you said, going back, you said that a lot of companies are just like going in with the remake remaster thing. Why do you think that they're doing that? Like, why do you think they're just going, oh, we're just gonna fucking remake or remaster shit at this point?
I mean, it must be profitable because even when they're selling it where it's like if new players come in, they're going to buy the new version, right? But they'd still be giving you the same money that you didn't spend a budget on, right? Like, so let's say you have a $50 Horizon Zero Dawn and now you make a new one that's still like a $50 Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, they are playing some money games where they've decreased the price, put it on super sale. Now they can increase the price completely again, which they literally have done. They've gave it out for free in like 2020, and now it's back up to like a very intense price. So there is that. They can kind of like mess with the price, even if technically it's not a higher price than they sold it for initially. So they're making money from that, and then they're making money for the $10 upgrade. And that's easy because they already have a group of millions of people who have bought it. So they know that a certain percentage is likely going to upgrade it, and they're good to go. So they know that's like money in their pocket. So if they keep a low budget to just remaster, it's just profitable. It just is. People are going to buy it. Fans are going to like it. Everybody's kind of going to be happy there, except for the people who just think that it's a waste of resources, which technically it kind of is. But if people like it, why not fulfill it? It is a weird thing, right? And so while I'm kind of like, why would you remake a 6-year-old game that looks just fine? People do want it, so who am I to tell them they can't have it? You know, that's kind of where I'm at with it. But at the same time, if like the whole state of play, which it felt like 60% of it was remasters, or like the collab you just mentioned, or like it's like, can we get some new fucking games? Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. I mean,
You know?
if you think about it, Nintendo kind of does the same thing. Because how many times are you gonna play the same fucking Zelda game?
Yeah.
Every
Think about Skyrim. Skyrim's a big one for having like remade a million times.
Keep doing Skyrim.
Yeah.
I'm so over it. Because.
But people love
But
it.
like you said, like you said, it makes money and it's very simple. And the thing is they just know their audience because if you think about it, Nintendo such is like a perfect example because they'll make 6 different consoles and they won't let you carry over the game to the new one, even though you buy it on their fucking network or whatever it is. They go, no, you gotta buy it from the next network because it's a new console. So buy it again. And what you're gonna do? You're gonna fucking buy it because
Why
you're
don't
simple.
people shit on Nintendo more? To be honest, now I like Nintendo.
People should shit on Nintendo more.
But they shit on like anything that Xbox or PlayStation does. And they never ever apply the same rules to Nintendo. They're like, no, it's okay that they do that. It's fine.
Because people, like what did I say in the beginning of this episode? People are stupid. Game is not okay.
Like, think about the nuance. They're not okay. It's like nobody's having the real conversations. It's crazy. That's what we're trying to do here.
And this plays into the next fucking perfect thing with gamers being not okay. I don't know if you say the game is not okay with this or is the company. I know you were very devastated by this news. I had to call you and consult you because you were like just in tears. And I was like, it's gonna be okay. Assassin's Creed Shadow got delayed.
I almost quit gaming for good. Just threw it all out the window. It's done.
To February of next year. So first quarter of next year. And a side of me is just like, I really don't give two shits. But there is a whole fucking group of people who were shitting on the game from day one. That's like, just shows that we are doing it. Ubisoft is listening. Ubisoft is scared. Fuck Ubisoft. The game needs to die. Because it's like, it's a lot of issues going on, obviously, with that game when it comes to historical accuracy and putting proper representation or historical accuracy in the game. I think that the most recent drama was like they released some type of figurine and it had some type of like statue or pillar in the back, but it wasn't the right pillar. Something weird.
Yeah.
I didn't follow it too much. You know more about it because you're like a diehard Assassin's Creed fan. Yeah. So what was that all about?
That's a lot at once. So I think that they absolutely have won a battle. I hope they don't win the war. As a Ubisoft fan, as an Assassin's Creed huge fan, especially Assassin's Creed. I don't know much about some of other Ubisoft's other titles, but I think that they did win a battle, and I think that Ubisoft made some mistakes that allowed them to do so, because the whole series isn't about being historically accurate. It never has been. Their quote from like the very beginning was, "History is our playground." It's never been about having the perfect historical accuracy. Do they want to get some details right and try to be respectful of the culture generally? Yes. Do they want to have like this rich history steeped aesthetic that you can then play around with because this history is our playground? Yes. Do they want you to be able to interact with real people from history and that not be a very loose version of whether those people would have ever done anything like that? Yes. So it's like very much, you know, and they tailor like the events to be something that the characters can interact with. So like Connor in AC3 basically like started the American Revolution. That obviously didn't happen in real life, right? So
That
it's
we
like,
know of.
that we
That
know of because, you know, secret. Yeah, no. So it's like they've always been playing loose goose with history. Like it's always been just like a good time. Nobody really thinks too much about it. Some of the details are a little bit off and weird, and we're just here to have a good time. You know, it's not like they're taking it way too goddamn seriously, in my opinion. But so what they've done is they just want to hate Ubisoft and they want to hate Assassin's Creed because of whatever agenda they have going on. They're like anti-DEI, anti-woke, game companies that are telling us we can't own our games. It's like every single time they come at like a fan with their shit, it's never even about the games. They say Ubisoft and they just put that word on there and then say that the games are all the same and that they're repetitive and that nothing has changed and like every game is extremely uniquely different. I went through the entire series last summer to prove it, or to like actually prove or disprove that, and I realized how much each game is unique in and of itself. So I didn't even think I was going to like Valhalla going into it, and I changed my mind. I just didn't like the intro. And yeah, and that happens. And so I was like, I'm going to hate Valhalla, but we're going to push through it. No, I liked it after that stupid snow intro. I hate all snow intros for the most part, other than Last of Us. But
did Red Dead Redemption
I
make you
hated it.
hate snow intro?
And so I pushed through it because I was like, well, I hated it in Valhalla too. We're going to be okay. And then we were not okay. But Valhalla did grow on me. And it was extremely different. Like it actually took things from AC1 that no other game had. It went back to the first game and it had some of the roots in it that people didn't even realize because they just were so focused on it being what they wanted to perceive it as. And so, you know, people have all of these agendas against Ubisoft and against Assassin's Creed. So they take arguments that have nothing to do with the game and they put it on it. Like with it has woke, it has DEI, it has all this stuff. No, they differentiated by bringing in a perspective of a black man in Japan who was clearly at least like arguably a samurai. There's an argument to be had there, a debate that has not super been proven or disproven, but he was at least samurai adjacent. And there's a story to be had there. And so it's this cool, unique story of someone that's not native to Japanese culture and has a completely different story with that area that they can then foil with a Japanese native. And so and so he's not even supposed to be a part of the creed. So people are yelling because he's like, oh, he's not an assassin. No, he's not. He's not. He's a playable character that's not necessarily assassin, and it wouldn't be the first time. And Assassin's Creed is about the overall lore of Assassin's Creed. It's completely different than just, oh, you only play as an assassin, you only play in the native lore. Like there's so many other aspects to it and people get upset. But had they not expanded the way that they interact with the lore, the games would have gotten repetitive and they would be all the same. So they complain about them being the same and then complain about them not being the same. And no matter what, you're going to get complaints. So they've been loud enough this time. And there was enough that Ubisoft did wrong in this whole process in their marketing that they could take advantage of the situation and holler louder. And so I think they did make an impact because they got like a bunch of people in Japan on their side because they were screaming about it not being historically accurate because they want to take them down. It doesn't matter to them whether it's historically accurate. Most of them are racist fucks. So it's not like they're trying to defend Japan. What? They just want to use it to try to take down Ubisoft. That's it. And they won that battle. They did.
I just feel like, you know, but when Ubisoft has said, like, you know, a rich experience can be lived through the eyes of two unique protagonists, but we realize we need more time to polish and redefine experiences, pushing further some of our key features. I feel like they got so much backlash because, like, you know, when it comes to like the little minute things, when it comes to like Japanese culture, and if you fuck up Japanese culture in any way, it's like you just are done for.
Yeah.
So it's like they I think like they had so many little fuck ups that they had to go like, you know, we have to redo this.
But here's the thing, like, if it was
scrap it and redo it.
If it was just Japan talking, like if it was just Japanese gamers, it wouldn't have changed anything. It's because
you think?
It's because all of the different agenda people who are very anti-woke, anti-DEI, anti-establishment, anti-all giant AAA companies. Like it's funny because they're exactly the same as Sweet Baby Inc. and wanting to take down the gaming industry, but they're doing it from two different sides. But they have the same goal to take down the gaming industry. They just want to see like AAA die. That's what they want.
That is true. That is true.
So that's their agenda,
feel...
and they'll do anything and fit anything into that agenda to make it happen. So it's not that they were trying to defend Japan. I think without them, the Japanese like yelling probably wouldn't have done much at all, to be honest. It's just because the Western American culture like took over and decided to like put that on a pedestal. I firmly believe that.
I honestly feel like that this is the shift in gaming people wanted, because it shifted in one way where it just catered to one or a particular group or minority. And we spoke about this many times in many episodes. And now everybody just wants you to just go back to what it was. Just make games. Just fucking make a game. Make games, good story, good gameplay. Keep it very simple.
Well, here's the thing about that, though. I think that a lot of game companies are making games. And I think that the people who are anti, like, agenda everything are infusing the situation to create dramatics surrounding the games that aren't necessarily part of the games at all. Like, for instance, the Outlaws one. Star Wars Outlaws doesn't have any quote-unquote woke in it. Other than maybe the girl looking slightly more masculine than they want, not as pretty as the character they had it after. But there's literally nothing in that game that's, like, trying to preach at you. It's it's like a very friendly, just cute game. It's more about the little cute animal. Like, there's nothing in there.
I mean, when you start looking at everything too, like also Ubisoft's stocks are starting to like kind of go down too. Mm-hmm. We're also seeing, this is this upset for gamers too, because could you imagine that you paid all that fucking money to play the game a little early? Now you gotta wait till next year. Mm-hmm. I'd be pissed.
Well,
I paid $100 fucking.
They're refunding, and then they're giving them a freebie if they pre-order again. They were gonna do like, how like I think one of the things is their little like live service almost model that they're doing after the solo games. They realized this isn't fucking working. It was like all of these companies experimenting with trying to take advantage of the extra monetization of the live service model, and because that people aren't liking that and they're hating it a lot. I think they're changing it up, and that's part of the reason that they're even shifting the deadline, is because they're like, okay, well, we need to give people Steam access. We need to prioritize PC and Steam, and we need to stop doing this live service stuff. It's not working. Let's change the model up. And so it's not about the game as much as it is about like all of the fucking marketing surrounding it.
But it's a lot of marketing invested in this game. So Ubisoft, you better hope that all this money and time, because now with the deadlines, and we both know coming from the business aspect of things, when you push something back, money is like, oh, you're going over the budget now. So now you got to ask for more money.
Yep.
And whoever the publisher is Ubisoft's developer and publisher?
I believe so.
So they have a deadline, so they just push the deadline back. If
like
Ubisoft
they have
is the
all
publisher,
of their like development companies underneath them for the most part. I need to do more on the business end to study it, but
yeah. So if Ubisoft is the developer and publisher and they're pushing the deadline back, it's whatever. It's like, it's cool. But if they're not the main ones, if there's somebody else, they're gonna be like, yo, hurry the fuck up. That's where you get to that.
They keep all their stuff in house.
Yeah.
They have like development companies everywhere.
Yeah, but at the same time, you still gotta reach. If the project is supposed to be for end date of this year, after a while, somebody's like, where the fuck is our money? Because we're losing money. And they lose money in stocks too.
So if you didn't know,
and refunding too.
Ubisoft's fiscal year ends in March. So they're still going to have the game come out before end of year for them.
But do you think they recover losses?
No. I think that like losing out on the holiday sales is potentially a nail in the coffin.
It is detrimental.
It's very detrimental.
Games coming out during the holiday season is when a lot of companies expect to make the most of their money.
Yep.
They expect to make buku fucking bucks. And you guys need to understand this. Like, if you look at any big titles coming out like towards the end of the year, that's when they're saying like, we're gonna make money. Why do you think Call of Duty always comes out at the same time?
Yeah.
The new Call of Duties come out around the same time because they want to make that holiday sale money. Because
Yeah.
they know November, December is when they fucking bank. They
But
fucking
here's the
bank.
thing. So the holidays are gonna make them take a hit, but the rest of it, I think they, you know how like when like a person gets canceled, you know, on the internet, and then they come out and they say something and they make it much worse. That's like what happened with Ubisoft. There was no reason for them to ever respond or give them any sort of attention. Had they just stopped giving it attention and done their thing and like promoted it well, I don't think they would be having all these issues. You know, it's because they even
Yeah.
tried to respond at all that it's gotten this fucked. And so I think now, and that's why it sounds like they're doing internal investigations and like trying to reorg, because the marketing, the game itself is not the problem. Nobody like, whether like I like the style of gameplay that Assassin's Creed offers, and so do tens of millions of other people. So they're good on that. You know what I mean? And they already have innovations they've talked about that they're putting on top of the system we already like. So cool. Nothing wrong with the game. What's wrong is the marketing. So the people who don't like that, they think that there's an agenda being pushed, and then all of the things that they've said surrounding the game, and then the lack of marketing because they've not been putting out as much marketing as they normally do to show us the game. And so I think there's like a million things that they did wrong, and it could have to do with the Outlaws coming out right before. I did think it was weird they were having two giant launches right beside each other like that. Like that's way
Yeah, we
too much
saw
for
what
one company
happened.
to handle.
Yeah, we saw that happen. That was an issue when they did Titanfall 2, and I forgot another game that came out at the same time, and that like hurt Titanfall's sales. Titanfall 2 was a fucking
Yeah, I've
great
heard
game.
it's like one of the
Great game.
best games, like shooters ever.
Yeah, but it came out the same time as another big game, and it kind of just was like in the wayward, and that's what happens. You got to, and a lot of times like companies don't like to compete
Yep.
with certain releases. Like I know, remember the game Battleborn? That came out the same time of Overwatch. That came out before Overwatch, and
Ooh.
Overwatch crushed it.
Oh, yep.
And so a lot of game companies try to not, like a lot of game companies don't like to release during the same time as Call of Duty. They don't like to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because everybody's gonna
They,
be. I mean, that's
yeah,
the best-selling game of the year. 10 out of the last like 13 years. Yeah.
yeah. And when you look at like this upcoming holiday season, we have like a few games coming out. A Silent Hill 2, the remaster, the remake, whatever the hell it is, in October. We have the new Dragon Ball Spark Zero coming out in October. We have the Darksiders Definitive Edition. A lot of these companies are going to be looking to make money. The Sonic X Shadow Generations game, that's a Sega Sony game, going to be making money. Well, Sega. We just had the Zelda game come out.
Yeah, and that one
You
was
know,
such a tiny release, and I was asking fans why. I was like, why have I not heard about this new Zelda game? Like I'm hearing whispers,
because
tiny
Nintendo
whispers.
don't need to market, bro.
It's because it's a cartoony version, like more cartoony, like
Yeah, but it's
yeah.
a Zelda game. It's
Yeah.
it's not okay. You play as Zelda. You don't
Yeah.
play as Link. You play as Zelda.
Gotcha.
And how much marketing does Nintendo really have to do? We got a game,
Yeah.
and people gonna buy the shit.
This is true.
so so I'm we gotta see, because I know I've based off of history, during the first quarter of gaming, nobody really makes money.
Nobody's really making
First quarter
money,
games.
period, in gaming, it feels like. Have we heard of any company like having a good time?
So that gets us into the our next thing. I know you just started playing this.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is now coming out with a second one. It's I don't want to butcher this damn name. What is it? Ghost of Tsushima Yoko or something?
I don't yokai. I actually haven't heard
Not
it said out loud.
yokai. Nah.
Is it not?
I don't think it's
Yotai?
yokai. Yo-yo, Bobo,
Yotai.
Jojo.
It's one of the two I said, I think, but I might be pronouncing it wrong. I haven't
People are
heard
gonna
it
be like,
said very many
people
times.
are gonna be like, you guys are racist.
Listen,
They're gonna say
just
that,
because we
watch.
can't fucking speak another language and we're idiots and we're not
Ghost-
multilingual, like it's fine. We're doing our best.
It's called Ghost of Yotai. Ghost of Yotai.
Okay.
So it's not Ghost of Tsushima. So Ghost of Tsushima is what you're playing. That's a different story. Ghost of Yotai. Ghost of Yotai is takes place supposedly 500 years after the events of Ghost of Tsushima, and it's a different Japanese feudal era. I'm not sure the era, but people are upset Now, because again, they're fucking stupid. The protagonist is not a male protagonist; it's a
God
female
forbid.
protagonist. But what they're really, I don't know if they're really upset because it's a female protagonist or it's because of the voice actress and the character model based off a she they saying she's more of a liberal, hyper liberal person. The voice actress, her name is, she was going around, she was blocking everybody. I'm gonna get her name.
I
Wait,
don't
I don't have her
think
name.
that they're
God damn
even
it.
mad about either of those things. You know what they're actually mad about? They
What?
feel like they're not important. That's what it all boils down to. So it's like all of these gamers that feel like they're being pushed to the side and they're like, oh, they're taking away, they're not giving me characters that look like me anymore. They're pushing me out. And so they're like, oh, there's more women. Oh, there's more this. Oh, there's more that. And so, you know, they're pushing that agenda by finding anything they can. So it was like happy go lucky them all of a sudden when they found things to hate about the lady. They're like, oh, she's everything that I'm against. Perfect. Now I can use this as like a fighting stance to make the situation worse and fight my point even more. So it was like the
Yeah,
perfect storm for them. And they took full advantage of
Erica,
it. You almost can't even blame
Erica
them for it.
is she? Erica is she? Hopefully I said that name right.
Yeah.
Erica, I'm not trying to butcher your name. I'm not trying to call hate against you. Don't block me because I found out I wasn't blocked by you. But a lot of people, she blocked a lot of people, and
Yeah.
people are upset like I never interacted with her and she blocked me. It's called a chain block. You simple fuck.
Yeah.
But people are upset because she is LBGTQ.
Mhm.
She's far left. She's very upfront about her stance and things, and she is, you know, she's an she's a person on the internet, and she has her takes. And as somebody who is also on the internet has their own takes, she's not everybody's cup of tea.
Sure.
So people feel like, you know, they're already putting it that is going to be, they're going to be pushing the agenda and stuff. And like
I
you
mean,
said,
how
they're
many times have
pushing
you
me out.
played
The
a game
characters don't
and
look
been
like
like,
me.
oh my God, this game is pushing an agenda on me. I hate it. Like, how many times has it actually happened for you?
I don't play many of those games. That's why.
I don't really either, but like, I can't even think of a game that applies to you other than like fucking Dustborn. You know what I mean?
Movies.
I haven't ever
Movies.
played a game or even like, I don't see very many games that are actually pushing an agenda. I feel like it's people saying they're pushing an agenda. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't ever played a game and felt preached out. Like I can't. The only one, actually, the one that comes to mind was Gone Home. Remember? Because I've mentioned that one. It's a
Oh
tiny indie
yes,
game,
yes, you did.
but it did feel like they had used it as like this weird gotcha selling point thing. I don't know. It felt like it was a little preachy, and it wasn't even that I was anti what they were preaching. That's the thing. I just didn't like feeling preached at, and so I can understand that concept of not liking being preached at rather than just having a good story. Like I get that, but I don't think that
Yeah.
many games even have that. And so I think they're just saying, oh well, I think that they are being preachy because the people making the game are different than me. And I think that's a weird thing to think. I don't think they're necessarily preaching much in most of these games. I'd be open to hearing if people have seen that, but I personally have not seen that very often.
Neither have I. I mean, a lot of people are upset at the whole fact where it's like, okay, these. So, like you said, that you know, the it's not me anymore. I'm not seeing me anymore. I'm seeing it's. I'm being pushed out. So if you look at like the history we've seen, like you know, Ratchet and Clank, it went from Ratchet to I don't know this new girl's name. Last of Us 2, I really don't see that with Last of Us 2 because you played as Joel and it took over Ellie. I really can't agree with that. Uncharted, you played as Drake, but then you had this it switched over to two female characters. That's part of the story. One was supposed actually a villain too.
Mhm.
So
It seems like an
their
organic
whole thing is like,
transition when we played that one. When I played Uncharted,
yeah,
but I could see getting upset if it feels like it's forced because we were talking about that in the last episode or a couple episodes ago,
yeah,
where like if they start with the mentality of we're making something and it would do even like we would be able to tell this story and have the gameplay even better because we have this specific character. And instead of trying to force diversity, it's just, oh, this works for the story we're trying to tell. The characters are organically diverse, which makes sense because the world is organically diverse. So if that just happens to fit into your game, great, because that's the way the world works. But like, if you're forcing it in as like at the end of the game, you're like, oh, we've got to have like 3 black characters, 3 gay characters, whatever. Like, you've got to have like, a bunch of characters. Now we need to make the main character a woman now that we've planned out this whole story and this whole game, which I think they probably did with, my theory is that they did that with Alloy. They probably planned out a whole idea for that game that was a man, and then they were like, all right, we're gonna make it a woman, because it doesn't feel like she has any sort of character depth.
I sometimes I feel like, this whole thing is like passing of the torch with some things. So like, I'm gonna use movies for examples. Cars, the Car series. It was Lightning McQueen 1, 2, and 3. Then you got the like 4, maybe it was 1 and 2 or 3. I don't know. But you got the last series, the last movie in the series. It patched onto a younger female car. Kung Fu Panda. Poe was the chosen one, right? You 1, 2, and 3. You had all Poe, and now he is no longer the Dragon Warrior. It passed on to a young Fox girl.
Okay.
So it's passing on this torch. So a lot of people are saying that, like, okay, why is it not being passed on to a male? It's being passed on to girl. It's pushing girl power and stuff. So if I want to play devil's advocate, I can see where the disdain is at. You're like, okay, you're just passing it off to women instead of giving a woman her own thing.
Yes, and I've heard that argument a lot. So, and I'm not fully against it. I think that there's a good conversation to be had there.
Yeah, because if you look at like, not Uncharted, Horizon Zero Dawn. It's a woman. We know it as a woman. At least it started
out as a woman. Yeah, you're right.
It started as a woman.
Yeah.
Metroid was a woman. If they made Sammy, the world would fucking lose its mind. The Zelda game, for the longest, everybody thought you played as Zelda, but you played as Link. Now you're playing as the actual game as Zelda. Nobody's upset about that. It's like, okay, Zelda.
Because it didn't feel like they were and here's the thing is, like, I just don't particularly care. If a game is like, okay, well, we want to kind of be more diverse, so we're doing this. Like, as long as it doesn't feel to the extent of preachy that like Gone Home felt for me. Yes. Where it feels like they're trying to make money off of a group of people. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, and for me, if I relate to the character more, whether it's a man or woman, that could happen either way, and it is cool to see people like me in a game. I'm always going to think that that's neat, but I don't need it. If there's more games that do it, cool. But like, I'm not going to hate a game because it doesn't have a female lead, right? Just like, I don't think men should hate games that don't have a male lead. Like, it's just a weird concept. You can relate to anyone. And we were saying it in the very first episode. One of the characters I related most to is a white man. That doesn't like change for me who the character is in terms of like the basic, really superficial stuff. Doesn't change like the internals that you can relate to, So they actually have a really big opportunity in Ghost of this new one that I can't remember the name of already.
Ghost of Yotai. And the thing is like, you cannot be mad or call the game woke because now it has a female protagonist.
They don't know anything about it. They have no idea. And the thing is, they're actually changing the time period. They have a huge opportunity.
It's 500 years after. The whole Ghost series could have a whole bunch of different fucking characters.
Exactly. The second one could be a woman. The third one could be male. Yep.
Yeah, it could switch up because at the end of the day, it's based in the fucking the time of Japan.
They could even bring Jin back if they wanted to. Some people were mad they didn't do another one with him, and I'm like, honestly, from a monetary perspective, it makes sense to go with a new character instead.
Exactly.
And then bring him back if it does well. But if they do another game where they didn't do enough innovation and it like flops, and they have like the sequel flop, a lot of games go to a new character for the second game.
Yeah, like, you can't be upset or call the game woke just because the voice actress is gay or she has a liberal standpoint. It doesn't matter. Like she's a good voice actress. She's fuck Anna Bray in Destiny 2. She did the voice. She did the voice of character in Psychonauts.
They didn't yell in because they want to cancel things these days. They're looking for reasons. She's
also the voice of Valkyrie in Apex Legends.
So are they going to stop
She's
playing Apex now? You know what I mean? Like it's just it's ridiculous.
it's just stupid. Like honestly, like again, like I said, I can understand if the game had a series, like as I just said with those movies, where you just pass the torch on to a female character or another character. It just like it's a hand me down.
Yeah.
That's why myself, I don't like that Miles Morales is called Spider-Man. I like them as Kid Arachnid or he's just Miles Morales because it's like he just gets a hand me down.
Yeah.
Even if you go back to like using Sam Wilson, the Falcon, who is now Captain America. Even in the comics, he didn't want to be Cap for long because after the whole thing, he was like, I don't want to be in Cap's shadow.
Makes
Even
sense.
Bucky, his partner, didn't want to be in Cap's shadow. None of them felt they were worthy of the mantle of Captain America, and at the same time, they didn't want to be in his shadow, really. So, me, I don't like when white characters are made black or gender swap because it takes away from the race and the gender. Because here's the thing, there are tons of black superheroes. There are tons of female superheroes. Give us their movies and their stories.
Oh yeah.
Do not give me the hand-me-down of a white superhero. I don't want the hand-me-down. I don't want the hand-me-down of a male protagonist handed over to a woman. We just got the trailer for the new John Wick movie. It's set in the John Wick universe, but it follows a ballerina. It follows a female assassin.
Okay.
Why does that work? Because the whole universe is of assassins.
And so it's not like they're swapping him. And I think that's where it's fair to get mad if things are being swapped and it feels like it's infringing on an art that you already loved. I can even, like, a good example of kind of being able to relate to that is how in Last of Us, I feel like a lot of the show characters don't look like the game characters. And it kind of upsets me, to be honest. And they're like, it doesn't matter as long as they're good actors. And I think we both very much agree on that. I want them to look like the characters in the game. Like that. That's just, you can't change my mind on that.
Abby don't got big arms.
Yeah, I want her to have big arms. I want the characters to be the same race and look the same as they do in the game. Listen, that's just me. You can't change my mind on that because I think that the swapping detracts from the experience we've already had in the other media. You know,
it does. At a time, like at a time, I still feel this way about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like, I didn't need a black samurai in it. I didn't.
But
I felt
here's
it was
the
very
thing.
preachy.
Here's the thing. It's not actually race swapping. They just
I
have
know,
a character from a different
I know.
perspective. Because if they have another Jin that's exactly the same perspective, honor, Japanese man. And the thing is, Japanese men need other stories outside of feudal Japan. Let's go ahead and throw that out there. If you want more Japanese men, put them in stories that aren't just feudal Japan. And so it's like, why would you want to tell the same exact story again? I think that it's good that they brought in a new perspective where you can see as an outsider, especially since we know a lot of Western people are going to be playing a game with Eastern culture for probably one of the first times. You know, I mean, the Wukong fans and a lot of people maybe not, but like there's a lot of people like me who have not had as much like content from Eastern culture yet. And so if this is their first step into it, having somebody from a different culture with fresh eyes coming into that culture will allow for them to have less of a disconnect. So for like Ghost of Tsushima, I'm having an issue relating to him. Not because he's a man, but because he's all about honor. And I find it to be very manipulative. I feel like he's been very manipulated throughout his life, and he's having almost a coming of age story, like a teenager, because he's finally like making decisions for himself and thinking for himself. And that it's hard for me because I'm like, I didn't come in this for like a teenage story, except he's also a grown adult. He's just somebody who's been manipulated. And that's not how an Eastern person would see it, but it's how I see it from my Western perspective. And so having these fresh eyes with a character in feudal Japan is going to be a much easier thing for me as somebody with Western culture to then see that culture in a new light. And so it's an opportunity in my mind.
I get what you're saying because as when playing a Wukong, I didn't know much about like Chinese mythology. I knew very little, and like playing Wukong, like Chinese mythology is it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Half the women in it are fucking killing men and giant spider yaguai. But I feel like Japanese, I feel like I know enough about Japanese and feudal Japan from just like the animes, history, the video games. One of my favorite video games was Unimusha Warlords, and that was all set in feudal Japan, and it did some other stuff. And I want to see more like African mythologies, stories. Africa. Now I know Africa is a continent, and Egypt and all that crap, but
Right.
no, when you look at like when you talk about Egyptian gods, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's for Egypt, the pharaohs, Ra, Anubis, uh, Capri, all those guys. I know that. But when it comes to like African gods,
Yeah.
how many African gods can you really name off the top of your
And the
head?
thing is, Egypt is like it's different because I was actually having a light conversation with someone because they're like, oh, this is the first black protagonist that you can play as, and I was like, well, doesn't technically by it count? And they're like, yes, but kind of different. And so a lot of people do see it as different, and I think that's fair because Egypt is kind of its own, like it's very North Egypt, and it has more of like the almost Middle Eastern culture as well. Like it's kind of that like it's different, right? And so
Yes.
the other African cultures that are all very distinct in and of themselves, like you're saying, there's so much more to bring into different games and stories.
So if I want, if for me, if I would have seen like a uh, a black assassin, I would have seen them like in the like the Congos and stuff of Africa and stuff, like the jungles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, this is like during the slave trade, during this actual like the start of the slave trade,
Mm-hmm.
and you have assassins trying to stop the slave trade, and then ends up in it and is taken to like the new world and stuff, and he joins that. Don't steal my idea, Ubisoft. If you're watching this and you steal it, I'm suing. But just seeing him in the scene of Black Samurai, like, okay, I get it. But then you want to have like hip hop when he's fighting. I'm like, But
I mean, they always
we're going
kind
back.
of change their music to fit
Yeah,
the.
but-
But yeah, anyway,
Going back to the Ghost of Yokai, it's like I'm saying
I think it's a
Yotai.
huge opportunity though, because here's the thing, like you're saying about like how they'll kind of put women in the shadow of other like, or whenever they're swapping anything, they'll put them in their shadow, right? And with this,
Yes.
there's a huge opportunity to instead tell a better story because I, as a Westerner at least, had a lot of trouble connecting with Jin. And I've seen people who say this is one of their favorite games ever, but they still couldn't connect very well with Jin because he's kind of cardboardy. He doesn't have a lot going on. He's kind of a product of everything around him. So they could actually give her a deeper personality within the things that they've already created that people like, and even create a deeper world because it's a war-torn kind of apocalyptic world that I wasn't expecting going into it. I was hoping to see Japanese culture, and I feel like I'm seeing war-torn country. And so I'm excited to see the potential of maybe less war-torn, more, people aren't just like running away from, scary war the whole time. There's like actually cities to walk around in, like it seems like Shadows is going to have, right? Like I'd be down for another game of that, where we have like actual cities to walk through and not so apocalyptic. And then on top of that, having a deep characterization for her and having a better story than he has, that could be a good follow-up sequel that says, hey, we told the story of a woman in Japan instead of, hey, we told Jin but clothed as a woman. Like I think there's an opportunity to really make a real female character.
Yeah, because if you think about it, how many female warriors have you like heard of in Japanese history? There probably are a lot, but we don't know those stories because you got to think during that time, Japanese men were like a woman, like warriors unheard of. Like, no, you're a woman. Even if you ever watch like the movie Prey, Predator Prey. You ever seen that one movie? You never seen Predator Prey?
I don't think so. I don't watch a lot of movies.
Dude,
I don't like short form. I'm more long form.
I worry about you every day.
I don't really watch a ton of. I mean, like I'll put them on in the background and stuff, but I don't like sit down and watch movies. I just they're not as. Sometimes, like the best movie I watched recently was like The Menu. I liked that one, but
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
That was a really good movie. So Predator Prey takes place in like right around when the British kind of like the English kind of found America, but it follows the Native Americans fighting the Predator. And if you ever watch a Predator movie, you know this is like alien tech versus like primitive fucking tech. And what the main character is a female in like Native American, and during that time there was no Native American warrior hunters. She was supposed to be a gatherer, and they tell her like, you're a fucking gatherer, like you're not a warrior, stop this. And she's like, no, fuck that, I'm gonna show you I could do it. And of course, she overcomes and beats a predator. Spoiler alert. But like, that's kind of cool to me. But if I have to hear every fucking 5 seconds, like, is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I'm a woman? It's like, stop. After a while, gets kind of annoying. It was like, because I'm black, because I'm black,
Well,
because
no,
I'm black. Like,
none
shut
of
up.
us who are part of those groups want that to be the only stories that are told for us, is like our struggles as a woman or our struggles as a black man. Like, we want stories where we just exist in the world like we do.
Exactly.
Like, that's not our fully defined personality at any given time. Like, we have a million facets to be able to talk about.
So like Mulan, I could see this as being like some shit from like Mulan. Mulan was like,
Yeah.
I could see it as Mulan because Mulan's a true story. And
You
they're
know
like,
what they would do, right?
What?
The anti-trans people would come out of the woodworks if Mulan came out today. Are you kidding? They would. Oh man, can you imagine the fucking? Oh, that.
But Mulan did come out. They did do the live action Mulan. It was dog shit.
Yeah, but it's an older story, so there's only so much they can do to complain there. But like, if Mulan came out today, like for the first time, people would be like, "That's the trans people. They're trying to get you." It's like, no, it's
Mulan's
a story
based
about,
off a true
but she's
story.
not like, it's a whole story about like, yeah, it's a really good
Joan
story.
of Arc was
It
the
was like
same
my
shit.
favorite. It was my favorite of the Disney movies growing up because it wasn't a girl getting kissed to life. Imagine that.
It was a
like,
girl
it was a
that's
girl
like,
doing something.
there was a girl and there was a guy questioning his sexuality. Like, I don't know, this guy's pretty hot. Am I gay? But
we can all you know, see objective like attractiveness, you know. And that's the thing, is like, there's people get mad about like we were talking about last week, women getting like being hot and men not being hot or whatever, and then they're not okay with women who aren't hot, but they're okay with men not being hot, something like that, like in games, you know. It's like,
yeah.
you can't recognize the objective attractiveness of just human beings to be okay. Like, I don't know, it's just weird.
But to wrap it all up, gamers are not okay anymore. It seems like nobody knows what they want, or they want it in a specific way, and you're becoming the same type of people you hate. You're becoming just like those people who are part of the woke crowd, or the freak. I hate using the word woke. The fucking, I don't know.
I've been calling them the
audience.
anti-crowd a little bit, like they're just
Yeah,
anti-everything.
Yeah, like just because the game has a female protagonist doesn't mean shit. Again, if the game series had multiple series and it was a dude and all of a sudden it switched to a girl, you're gonna be like, okay, that kind of sucks. And I'm sorry, ladies, you should want more. Like, you don't want to be in the shadow of fucking Nathan Drake or fucking Doom Guy or Duke Nukem or fucking give me another main Master Chief. No, I want my own fucking story. Me as a black, I don't want to be in the shadows of every white dude. I want to mind my own fucking story.
Yep.
But to sit there and get upset over the voice actress being gay and liberal, or the price point of PlayStation 5 and still buying it, and then bitching, well, you know, fucking the remastered nonsense. You know, the remaster is happening because of you, of us. We're the fault. We're to blame.
Well, and the thing
If we
is,
don't want
Hollywood's
remasters,
always
stop
been on
fucking buying them.
Hollywood's always been on one specific side of kind of like the political spectrum. And so if they're looking for games that don't have gay people acting, they're going to have a hard time finding them, you know? Like, that's just how it is. And if they really don't want that to be the case, go fucking act, straight people. I don't know what to tell you.
I just at the end of the day, we're not okay as gamers. We want a lot. We want a lot, and we want these game companies to listen. You don't want no more remakes or remasters? Don't fucking buy them. Stop buying them. You don't want to fucking, if you don't like that a woman is now the lead in a game that is just a fucking series of different games or stories, don't fucking buy it. Don't sit there and call it woke because of that. Assassin's Creed Shadow. You bullied the company enough that was like, yo, they fucked up. Now they're gonna fix it. Maybe it's for the better. Maybe it's not.
They'll still bully them. It
They
doesn't
know they
matter.
fucked up.
Like, Ubisoft could do everything right from here on out, and it's too little, too late for them. You know.
We are not okay as gamers. We're not. We want a lot. But
They want
the
perfection.
only way There's no such thing as perfect.
Exactly. It's fucking stupid. Like, it's art, dude. They're gonna have to calm down. I honestly think that gamers are some of the most entitled people I've ever met in my life. The industry right now is so fucking entitled. Like, every time I'm like, okay, then go create your own game. Why are you so mad? Like, if you don't think there are any good games, go create your own. Like, literally go out there, build your own console, build your own game. Who's fucking stopping you? Go do it if you think you're so much better.
Listen, in the words of Steven Universe, if every pork chop were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs. All right? Stupid, I know, but nothing is perfect. And even when you make your own game, somebody's not gonna like it. You know why? Because you either didn't include a certain group of person, you didn't include a certain race, you didn't talk about this issue, you didn't talk about that. You don't like it, don't buy it.
Not
don't
every
sit there
game
and say
is
you hate
ever
it
going
and
to
then
be for
buy
you.
it.
Yeah, it's like if the game industry only makes games for one singular person and it's you, like it's gonna look very boring, you know?
Exactly. Again, gaming is for everybody. Don't get me wrong, gaming is for everybody. But not every game is for everybody.
Yes. That.
And just let us know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that follow and notification button, you know, that little ding, so you can stay up to date with us. You got any closing statements, Matt?
No, I think that's the perfect one. Gaming's for everybody, but not every game is for everybody. Stop thinking you're the fucking main character, because you're not. And realize that it's okay for games to be out there that you don't like, and that you don't have to yell about it. You don't have to be angry. You can just say, hey, that's not for me. I'm going to go play the game I like.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say, stop being so fucking stupid. You're gonna buy it no matter what, just to hate it. You dummies. Goodbye.
Goodbye.